I grew up in the middle of nowhere, so I did not have any kind of scene at all. So like I think I ran into you last time you guys played Croydon here a couple of years ago.
I was gonna say
And
I've seen all of you guys before or met you guys before.
yeah, I didn't even recognize anybody because I didn't have a bunch of cool shows to go to when I was a kid like Sara did. So it's
Yeah, I mean, I usually recognize people a lot of the time. I mean, we meet a lot of people, of course, but most of the time, if I see people around a couple of shows, I just don't forget faces that much, you know.
And I know the ska world likes to travel for shows, so you see us in all different places, I'm sure.
Yeah, just in the last 6 months, man,
Yeah.
it's wild. Things just it's wild. You know, there's all I just kind of forget little. There's always like a little weekend or trip or like a tour or something. I just like, wow, we did that. You know, we went to this place and played one show. We'll fly in a lot now and just do weekends. So those seem to just go by so quick, you know.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, thanks for coming on. You're listening to Ska Talk with SKAgazine. My name is Jess. I am the host and founder here. I'm here with my co-hosts Sara and Punk Rock Ryan. Say hello.
Hello, hello, hello,
Um,
hello, co-host.
we are here tonight with a very special guest, Eddie from Voodoo Glow Skulls. Welcome.
Thank you so much. How's everyone doing? Thanks for
Good.
having me.
Before we get started, I just want to say that tonight's episode and every episode going forward is dedicated to our SKAgazine family and team member, Eric, who passed away a few weeks ago. He is in our hearts. He's in every podcast with us, and every show will be dedicated to him from here on out. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
really,
I'm
he
sorry to
was
hear that.
really excited for this one, Eddie. Like this was the last one that we scheduled together. And when I told
Oh
him
man,
that Voodoo Glow Skulls responded to me, he was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited." And we were both excited for this. So I know he's here with us right now, and it's an honor to do this for him because
my condolences to you guys and his family and his friends. That's why it's just life's crazy, man. Stuff happens, you know. It's
it really is. He was very
bummer.
young and, it was very unexpected. So, but we're going to keep this going and we're going to do so in his honor. And yeah, he would love for that to happen.
Right on.
So thank you for joining us tonight, Eddie. We're bringing you on because we are not only do we love the Voodoo Glow Skulls, but we're getting hyped for next week for This Is Not Croydon Fest, and you're headlining that.
Yeah.
So we were trying to do some stuff leading up to that, and help
Right
get people
on.
hype and
Yeah,
whatnot.
we're very excited. We're really stoked. We had fun the last time. This time we have my brother back in the band, so we're just
Yeah.
excited to come back and do what we've always done in the past. You know, really just. I mean, we just. I mean, right now we're just digging deep and just playing like this quote unquote like classic set. We're just trying to dig in a little deeper and play some songs off every record that we haven't done in a while or that we've never done live.
Oh,
And then we're doing like the same core 10, 12 that we kind of feel we always have to play, you know.
that's
So
exciting.
yeah, we it's been fun.
Cool. So, for our guests who may, or not our guests, our listeners who may not know who you are, I don't know how, but they may not. So, why don't you go and give yourself like a little game show introduction? Who are you? Why are you here? And I don't know, whatever.
Uh
How would
well
you introduce yourself if you were in an elevator, Eddie?
my name is Eddie Casillas. I'm the guitar player slash I guess lead guitar player, one of the principal songwriters of Voodoo Glow Skulls, Mexican American ska punk band from Southern California. I guess that's the best way to put it. You know, I mean, we're a little bit of everything else too, but people usually call us punk rock, punk ska punk. So that's the basic description I'd say. You know, and then but we're a little bit of everything else. I produce bands and record bands in my home studio, as well as writing Voodoo Glow Skulls music.
Nice. When did you get into music and what got you into it?
We got it in the music. I want to say from like oldies music when we were kids, you know, because I was born in '71, and that wasn't too. That was about 20 years out from all like the '50s music and stuff like that. So that was starting to be oldies back then, but it was only really like about 15 to 20 years after the fact. You know, so we caught on to all this old music. I think we heard like old like compilations on vinyl of oldie songs, and that was like the first introduction to music. And then soon after that, we got into rock music, like, you know, like from the 70s when we were that age. You know, we were like 5 to 10 years old, and all this crazy stuff in the 70s was, you know, was happening. You know, all the classic rock was going on. The first, you know, 10 years of my life, let's say. So we were learning about all that too, you know, all the stuff from the 70s and 80s, you know, like you name it. And that's how I guess we got into music, you know.
Is
Those
there any like
those first
one
impressions.
album or artist that you picked up where you were just like, oh, you were immediately in love with that artist or album?
We were weird little kids, man. We had somehow, I think my mom must have bought us this, but we had like those I don't know if this dates me because I don't know if they even do this anymore, but they used to have like these commercials for like a greatest hits compilations and stuff like that. And there was a record called Funny Bone Favorites, and it was advertised like on TV where you could order like the vinyl or the 8 track back then or something. And it was a bunch of classic oldies, kind of silly songs. That's why it was called, you know, like Funny Bone Favorites. So it had like Yakety Yak by you know, but it had Yakety Yak and Charlie Brown by the Coasters, and we ended up covering that song way after the fact, and it's like a staple in our set. So that influence started way back then with that compilation record, and we had to been like, I think we were like 6 7 years old, and we were playing that like on our first little turntables and stuff like that. And we kept that oldies song in our psyche the whole time growing up, and not being musicians for at least the first 10 12 years or whatever. And then when we finally became musicians and we're adults and had like a record deal, we're like, let's cover Charlie Brown, which is a song that we heard on our, I think possibly one of the first records we heard, you know, was that. So that was like, we were little small little kids, I think, saw the commercial, my mom ordered it, and it, you know, came in the mail type of thing. Like I want to say like 1977, something like that. So that was the first record, and it has all just like classic oldie songs, and then they're all kind of silly ones, you know, like kind of jokey songs. But we that kind of like left an impression enough for us to want to be that kind of a band.
Mm,
We wanted to be kind of like a it's an old term, but like almost vaudevillian, almost like Fishbone, like a party band, you know,
right.
not really one specific thing, you know what I mean? And a band where you could kind of take it everywhere, you know. That was kind of, and we got those impressions from that first record, I think, because those songs were just a bunch of wild, kind of silly songs that were all over the map, you know. And that just influenced us, you know. So that was the thing. And I mean, we were into like the first heavy metal records were a big deal, like AC/DC and Iron Maiden and Scorpions. That was our thing because we were in that age group, you know, when like 80s heavy metal became a big thing, you know. And then at the same time, my brother was in high school and he was bringing home like ska records, like the first Specials record and the Selector and Madness were like a big deal. And then like new wave, like Missing Persons and all the stuff that was going on when we were like 10, 12, 13 years old. You know, we kind of absorbed it all, and then turned it into a style at some point. We just kind of stole from everything we liked. You know, that's why we didn't end up being like a specific thing, like a suited up ska band that just plays like two-tone or something, or traditional, or we just kind of like thought we were okay to mix all these genres. And I think that started from way all that back then, you know.
Well,
We
you
kind
did
of
a
took
really good job of that.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, we kind of took pieces of it all and kind of made our own little mix, I think, and that's how the sound became the sound, I guess, you know. And I mean, it's the weird thing to be in a band that mixes stuff because there's always people that are like, you know, you put your chocolate in my peanut butter, like if they don't like mixing genres, they don't like, you know, ska, like root. You know, I mean, there'll be the rude boy types that don't like you mixing punk rock or metal and all that stuff, and I get it, but we just, you know what, we just wanted to be a band that just kind of crossed all the genres, you know, and just kind of did what we want and turned it into our own thing, I guess, you know.
Yeah, there's definitely always gatekeeping out there, but I think it's a
Yeah,
beautiful thing when multiple genres come together and
yeah, and
you know,
I respect that too. I mean, if people will just want to do their one thing, or their style. That's great. I mean, I'm into all that stuff too in my own ways, but just for our specific band, you know, we just kind of wanted to mix it all up and take the best of everything, of all the worlds that we liked. You know what I mean?
I'm kind of curious, did that go back to that original like Ha Ha album? You guys didn't want to take yourselves too seriously. You just wanted to do what you enjoyed and what felt natural.
Yeah, I mean that too. We were kind of, I mean, it's weird to be like a dude in his 50s now, and even singing some of the stuff that we sing from those first records of, like, you know, we all change as people. I mean, you know, we're older now, and like, but it's interesting that to relive some of like the old lyrics and old songs, and just, I mean, they're like moments in time, you know. But no, we didn't really take it that serious. I mean, we took the band serious. I mean, we wanted to do good and play well and have fun live shows, but we were always kind of like a party band. You know, we cut our teeth in backyard parties, and you know, like keg parties was a big deal in Southern California. You know, because the weather's nice and you could set up in the backyard. So we came from that. So we wanted to cater to that, you know, to more of the good time of anything else. And then, you know, we let, you know, it's like some politics and, you know, like certain things kind of, I mean, come into play a little bit. As you get older, you learn things and you blah blah blah. But we still wanted to keep the band fun. You know what I mean? I mean, first and foremost, we wanted to entertain and just be a fun band, like the bands that we kind of grew up seeing live that had like a whole show. You know what I mean?
Were you in any other bands before Voodoo Glow Skulls?
I was just in like backyard party bands that were kind of playing out a little bit, but nothing to speak of that would be known. But and that was even a mixed bag back then. Well, I wasn't. It wasn't really punk rock. It was kind of like whatever. Like, it was like the mixture of all the stuff that we were influenced by. A little bit less than Voodoo Glow Skulls. So it was more like an '80s band kind of sound. I mean, I was in a band that played out, and then immediately after that, we started Voodoo Glow Skulls, and it became like I guess, sort of like a real band. You know.
Sweet. So growing up in Southern California, like, how was the scene? Like, how was that like? And I know, like, saying Southern California is a very broad statement, because
Yeah.
you have Orange County, LA County, you have the Inland Empire. There's a lot that comes with that. So
Yeah.
however you wanted to explain that, how was that like for you?
Well, it was different back then as far as the sound goes, because now there's a lot of bands with, you know, with a horn section and like ska influenced bands. Back then there was hardly any. There was only like a handful. It seemed like there was just small little pockets of this sort of style. I mean, even though we all have our own style, but bands that are kind of considered punk rock and the punk scene or ska scene were still kind of lumped, you know, in the same scene. So there wasn't that many back then. Now you could just throw a rock and you hit a ska band now, or ska punk band, especially like a Latino one. You know, they're like, it's everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Back then we were like maybe the only one of two. Maybe there was some obscure band in East LA no one knew about yet, but it was just really nothing. It was like Voodoo, Fishbone, Boss Tones, you know, all these younger bands kind of come, you know, that weren't a thing quite yet. I mean, there was No Doubt. There was all these bands, but it was all its own thing, and it wasn't quite like as big as it is now. Of course, you know, it wasn't like as widespread. Now that's every city has a few bands like that now, at least, you know. So that was different, and there was no internet too, so that changes just with the information alone, just to pass along like show info, even all that. You used to have to go to record stores for flyers and
Yeah.
and wait for the weekly thing to come out or the monthly paper thing to have the listings, and that's like kind of gone now. Like, I used to rely on that, you know. So yeah, it's changed a lot, you know. That's changed, and just the way you book your band now, or the way you meet other bands, or like a club or like a promoter, you could just do it through Instagram or through Facebook now, you know. So that changed for sure. And like I said, that music kind of grew, you know, legs, and there's all kinds of different sub genres of ska punk bands or punk bands now, and it's different, you know.
Yeah,
Which is good.
definitely. A lot of changes, a lot of different bands. So like since you grew up like in peak, a lot of people would consider peak ska time in SoCal, right? Late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s.
Yeah.
But when do you personally think was like the best time for the ska scene? Or is there a best time for the ska scene? Like, what do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I would say, I mean, for my generation, like, I mean, I can only speak for this time. I mean, definitely like maybe 93 to 99, that little window right there, when all the bands that came up, came up that ended up being like super famous or just went away. But I mean, we came up with a who's who of bands that are, you know, that headline Coachella now or played giant. We came up with Sublime and No Doubt, the Boss Tones. I mean, Skank and Pickle. All these bands were around that same scene that I was talking about when there was a lot less of us, but there was still a good 20, 25 bands like that around, and a few of them became millionaires and became giant pop bands and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's a wild thing, But yeah, what was the question again? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, that was perfect. Just like, when do you think the ska scene is the healthiest or the best?
Oh yeah, then I mean, because it influenced what's going on now. You know what I mean? I mean, that was the moment when bands like that could become commercial. You know what I mean? We always, I mean, kind of, our style. I mean, it's obviously like a deliberate thing. We got caught up in that thing for a minute where we were on the big label and got signed and all that stuff, but we were like on the indie label, so we weren't really necessarily required to come up with a hit, like a K-Rock hit, let's say. You know what I mean? So any of our success kind of happened, I won't say by accident, but it was like we kind of stayed true to the roots of what Voodoo was the whole time, which is like a left field kind of ska punk band, a little bit more noisy, not as poppy, not quite as melodic, you know. I mean, kind of a hardcore singer. You know what I mean? It's not quite the same as those bands. So that afforded us though to just be around because we kind of came up with those bands. You know what I mean? I mean, you get lumped in with all these bands, it becomes super successful, and you're right there, and you kind of ride along with it. You know what I mean? So we got to come up with those bands, and look at No Doubt and like Sublime now, like doing big things. Yeah. So that was probably the best. I would say that would maybe the heyday. But I mean, that just means for bands that are in their 50s now. You know what I mean? Like there's cool stuff going on now. I mean, look at the Interrupters. You know what I mean? There's bands that have come up, that are doing ska or some kind of ska punk that have done basically the same things. You know what I mean? And I'm sure they're influenced by our bands. So it just keeps going. And I'm glad that there's legacy. But I would say the heyday for that style, that big umbrella of like ska and punk mixed together somehow, is definitely then. I would say like the moment like in between when our first records were starting to come out to the kind of like when the bubble burst, I would say was like 2000 or something, with like hardcore emo stuff came into play. Like that's when horns all of a sudden weren't quite as popular, when the skinny jeans, the whole Afro and skinny jeans effect came in. All of a sudden, everyone was wearing skinny jeans and not into ska punk anymore.
Thinking hipster.
Yeah, and that was kind of. Well, I mean, I'll say it because you just see it happen. I mean, I saw that happen with Green Day when they were coming up, and everyone sounded like Green Day. We would tour. We were everywhere, like in 1992, and they were coming up, and we would play with the Green Day type band everywhere we went because they were the thing. They were becoming giant. So like there was a Green Day in every town. So, I've same with ska punk,
Yeah.
Well, coming from somebody that likes to spend his concerts in the pit, I appreciate the fact that you guys kept it true to your voodoo sound.
Thanks, man.
The chaotic nature of it, like it's just so much fun.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's always been that sound. You can't. I mean, there's only so much you could do. Until you reinvent yourself. So, so now we're at the point where we feel. I mean, at least I feel like we've done a lot of the work. I mean, there's a lot of records out there. There's a lot of material. I mean, so people could just sift through it now. whether
Yeah.
they like the first stuff or the old or the last albums. I mean, it's just kind of there now, and we still work on new material, but that's why it just takes us time now because we're just like, we did a lot of the work. There's a catalog there. Let's just play live and keep it true to what the original sound is, and just not put any old record out there just to put out a song or a record because I feel that we already created the sound and it's kind of there now. So we're just kind of, slowly but surely putting out new stuff, but we're really trying to keep it true to what the OG stuff is or was.
Yeah, I love it. I love seeing kids in the pit too. We've been putting on a lot of all ages shows here locally in Detroit and stuff like that. I'm
Yeah.
kind of curious what your thoughts are and how important it is for the scene to be able to have kids be able to experience a concert.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, especially these days with everyone's on their phone. I mean, as we all know, so to get, if you can get kids to go and pay attention, that's already seems to be a feat in itself. Like, just to get kids to go watch a band play and not look down at a phone or an app, or maybe that's just adults, but dude, it's wild. So that's already cool. If you can get kids to come out, and we seem to have no shortage of kids being at shows when it's an all ages event or or a festival. I always meet people's kids now that they bring their kids to the show now. It's part of the deal because we're pretty much that age now. So I see it a lot.
Yeah.
And then I see a lot of like younger, just kids that are on their own. When you went to your first concerts and you were with your little buddies that were 15 to 20 years old or whatever it is, I see a lot of that too. So it's not just parents with their kids, but I'm still kind of surprised that we have young fans still though. I mean, it keeps it keeps you going because you're like, wow, well, at least we're not just catering to like, oh, I used to see you when I was in high school, that thing, which is great. That's what makes you. But people come and go. I've seen that now. Where fans have come and gone. Years have passed by, and then people might come back with their kids now, or might just went through some things in life and then could finally get out to shows again. Or there's always something. So it's cool to see people, like young kids there because it's like somehow you reach them.
I gotta ask, do you remember the kid that was on stage with you in 2023 at Supernova?
The little kid
Yeah,
that
who's
was
curly
sneaking up
hair,
with the
wearing the
mask on,
mask.
with the mask on.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
that's my son.
Oh, is it? Oh, wow. That's where I think that's where I recognize you from then.
Maybe.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, there was a lot of video of him that year where he was dancing around the front too, like
Yeah,
in
he's
front
a
of the stage. Like,
maniac.
yeah, like in the pit area, like in like the photo barricade thing.
Right.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so yeah, I remember him. It's
He's big
awesome.
in music. He's back there playing the drums still. We talked
Oh,
about
is
that
he?
earlier.
I was
Like,
about to ask, is he getting bigger?
oh
Getting
yeah,
older?
he's 10 now and he plays pretty much every instrument there is. And
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, yeah. I remember that little dude. That was a highlight scene. Just cool to see that. When you get tagged in videos.
anyway, I didn't mean to bust in on your question there,
Oh
Ryan.
no, it's all good.
Oh, no worries. It kind of ties in. I'm kind of curious if you had a message for the younger audience that you've got captivated their ear, whether it's the old fans, kids, or the new fans that you're getting that are just showing up to shows.
Keep going to shows, kiddies. Please keep going to shows and find music that you love and support it. It's important. And if you're into music, keep playing it. And start a band or support your friend's band.
Nice.
Short and simple. I love it. Yeah, I'm organizing here in Mount Pleasant because, like I was saying earlier, I didn't have much of a scene where I was at. So all the shows that I'm putting on, I'm making sure that they're all ages, so that way,
Yeah, that's
people.
awesome. Yeah,
I can bring in.
we've always had a good time coming through coming through Michigan and coming through Detroit. It's always been that's usually a top 3, top 5 show is coming through coming through that area. It's always good. It's always been good. I don't remember really having that many bad shows there. Once we started to become somewhat of a thing there, we always had a good time in that part of the country.
Yeah, there's a really dedicated scene down there. I'm a little bit further north of Detroit. I'm more central Michigan.
Oh, right on.
I'm taking advantage of the fact and bringing in bands from across the state so that way they can, meet some friends if they want to go on a mini tour or something like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I like coming through there. Hopefully we get back. I think we're going to come back that way in November, from what I hear. So hopefully that happens. We're going to come through with the Coffin Cats, I think.
Love the Coffin Cats.
Yeah, we'll be there in November. I'm pretty sure there's a Detroit or there's a Michigan date or two on that tour, as far as I know.
Definitely something to keep the eyes out for.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about you went through some changes in the band when your brother left. He's back now.
Yeah.
What's it like playing together again?
Oh, it's like it was before. It's a little bit more mellow now.
Okay.
But we were always pretty good. We were always, we kind of grew up with this, so we never really had a hard time playing with each other or anything like that. So it feels good to get back to it. He went through some stuff in his life and had to step away and went through some life, like changing stuff. And then once all the smoke cleared after a few years, he just wanted to get back to it. And it was the right time, pretty much, and yeah, it's been cool. I mean, that's all you can hope for, is if you're in our position, is to get back to what you used to do and to stay busy. And that's all we're really trying to do, is just give people what they'd want from a band like ours, with the original member back. We're just trying to play all the right songs, and then play some little extra things here and there that we've never played before. But we're just trying to give people what they would want, that like the band. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it was exciting. I remember, what was it, 2024 when he came back?
Yeah, it's only been a little bit over a year. It's been about a year and a half almost now.
Yeah, we were
like
out
October.
at the final No Effects shows out in San Pedro, and
it was actually the same day of the last one. We played his first show back was October 5th, which was
I know. I wanted to somehow be at both shows. I'm like, I'm out here.
Yeah.
Show,
I mean, that's a hard one. I mean, No Effects final shows, that's a hard one to. But we had a good sold out show, at the Regent, and it was a wild night. And I would have most likely been at the No Effects show if I wasn't at my own show.
Right. So yeah, that was interesting. But I have gotten to see you again with him since then at Supernova last year. That was great.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we had a good time at that one. I love that whole weekend was cool.
And then we'll get to see you again at this Not Croydon Fest, which we'll talk about soon. But I was curious, it was great that you were able to keep the band going until he was ready to rejoin. But how did the different lineups impact your music output? You did put out an album in that time frame. Yeah. And I guess you're the primary songwriter, but was there a lot of collaboration there?
That record, well, the last record, my brother George sort of stepped into my brother Frank's place in some ways.
Okay.
He had contributed in the past throughout the years, but he was never really contributing full songs. And then this last album, he really contributed a good amount of it, at least about half of it, and so it was just the natural thing to do, and it made sense because he's a bass player and he writes some stuff, of course. So he stepped right in and took place of the other brothers. I mean, not the lead vocals, of course, but he came in and wrote these other songs, and which is something my older brother Frank never really did, because Frank's not really necessarily a musician like that. He's a songwriter, and he's a vocalist, but he doesn't play anything. So George, could obviously play, so he wrote pretty much complete songs, which is great. And then he also collaborated. We did we collaborated on the vocals as well on some of those songs, and it worked out. We're family, so he was right there the whole time, and it was the thing that needed to be for the time. For that time, for sure, he stepped in and filled those shoes, and it seemed to work out pretty good for what was going on at the time.
So do you think with new music, I know you said you're taking it slow and letting things come to you organically, but do you think that makes you stronger as a unit now?
Oh yeah. I mean, now we just kind of have the other thing now, which is a little bit extra, of course, or a lot extra. A guy who writes half of a 10-song record, that's a big deal. So right now we've been sifting through demos for a while. I mean, we have over 20 demos. Some sound like songs, off of a record already. Some sound like the bare bones songs. We're just really taking our time. We don't feel like there's a big demand or rush or anything. So getting this settled back in still with my brother for a couple years, and then at some point, maybe fairly soon, we're just gonna finally get fed up and put out a song, you know. But we're just kind of sitting on them, to be honest with you. There's like we're kind of waiting maybe for the one song that grab us that we feel we need to put out. But and it's that one thing where you're doing it for so long, you really don't know what you have. Like we have a lot of material and it sounds like a record for sure, or like parts of a record, but we just need to really go through it with somebody else we trust and go, what do you think of this? You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things where we just don't want to put out any old thing. You know, we've done this for so long, and music to me, with how easily accessible it is, I think you should just make it that much more quality, in my opinion, because it's easy to just throw stuff out there now. It's so easy, straight from the studio, straight to streaming. You could do it quick, and it's like, and I have all those capabilities here at my house, and it's like it's too easy to just put anything out quick. So we're just taking the opposite approach. I think, at least in my opinion, is like one of the main, I guess, songwriter dudes is like, I'm just like, let's wait, let's slowly work on stuff. You know, come back and revisit. You know, I mean, come back and revisit songs and see if there's still something we even like a few months later, and then add stuff to them, and then write more. So right now we're just kind of waiting and slowly writing, you know.
Yeah. And speaking of records, it's interesting because your very first album and then your last album, they're both on Doctor Strange Records.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of big labels that happen in between, like Epitaph, you know, Victory.
Yeah.
So just curious, what made you go back to Doctor Strange?
It was just seemed like home, and he's just a good friend, and he's the right guy to have in your corner, I guess, if you're gonna put out vinyl. Which is, I mean, we were really looking for like a vinyl deal, like someone to just distribute and put out our vinyl. And what better person than like a guy who owns a record, like the premier worldwide record store, and a guy who's put out records before. And he was kind of looking for a way to get back into the record label side of it, because that had kind of gone away for a long time, for at least 10 to 15 years for him. So we were the perfect catalyst to like reintroduce the label, and it was the right time because right out of the pandemic, I mean, there was just a huge demand for vinyl all of a sudden. Like that was when it was really blowing up. And that, I mean, what better time to relaunch the whole thing with like one of the original bands. We were like one of the first records he put out. He put out a few 7-inches, and then our record, the first Guttermouth record and the first Face to Face records were really his first 3 LPs that he put out like around 93, and they all did really well, like a lot more than he expected. And those are the records that were all like a catalyst for all of us to get signed. We all got signed to labels because of our first Doctor Strange records. We all were able to go like to Epitaph, and like I think those guys went to Fat and all this stuff. So we were able to sign to the bigger label because of that first album, and a lot of that credit goes to Bill, and his know-how and his connections, like in the quote unquote music business, so at least the punk rock world of it, you know. So we just wanted to go back and just do like a basic deal like back in the day, you know, where our friend puts out a record on vinyl and we get a cut of it, and he handles all the stuff that we don't want to deal with like a record label should, you know. And
Right.
you know, and it's back to the basics. I mean, we don't really expect the treatment that we had like from an Epitaph or anything like that, but then again, it's a different world. We kind of come full like circle where you can kind of do things yourself now. You can, I mean, pretty much with the internet. So all the middleman has sort of been eliminated in a way, and you could even do your own records. We just choose to still like deal with a label. And what better person is to go back to the original guy that kind of helped us get to that first plateau anyways, you know?
He's a nice dude. I'm repping the shirt.
Oh, nice. Oh, cool, yeah.
Yeah. Got to represent the IE, right? So yeah.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, Bill's an awesome dude, and he's still into it. And we're playing this festival coming up here, the Doctor Strange Bash on the 23rd, which is actually my birthday, which is wild. May 23rd, we're doing the first night, and then And then all the Voodoo side bands are playing the second night.
Yeah.
So we're all kind of opening the show here and there. We're kind of peppered in throughout the day, and then but then Voodoo closes out the first night.
Yeah, I was actually gonna bring that up a little towards the end of this episode, but I was looking at that lineup at the Cathedral, Pomona.
Yeah,
that's pretty sick. Lower Class Brats. You got Dr. No. You got
it's a good lineup.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's cool to be a part of that because Bill will do it right. I mean, like Doctor Strange will have like a different angle on what a little festival should be, and he got the perfect bands in my opinion for this first year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we like that. We like being peppered in with like real punk rock shit. Because I mean, we kind of grew up on DI. That's a big influence on us. Like, I mean, for whatever's going on with them now, that was like a big deal band for at least the Voodoo Brothers and for our original drummer Jerry. DI was like a huge influence. Like in the late '80s, that was like, they were like gods to us. Those kind of punk rock bands.
Yeah.
Speaking of influence, though, we've got a segment called Brain on Ska where we get into the meaning of the lyrics and where the influence kind of came from.
Okay.
So with that in mind, it took us a little while for us to get into kind of what we wanted to decide for songs because you guys put out a lot of music.
Yeah.
There was something that I was listening to last night though that stood out, and I was hoping you might be able to tell us a little bit more on your inspiration for Tell the People. It seems very fitting to what's going on right now in today's world.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I had to think about the lyrics now because, dude, I for sure wrote those lyrics a good amount of that record on my own. My brother wrote some of the lyrics, but I got to dig deep on what we said right now and think about it. But I mean, that was sort of the beginning, like the Victory Records kind of era of the band. We were for sure getting a little bit more political, or just I think that's the band getting a little older for sure. We were thinking about what we were saying a little bit more, you know what I mean, than some of the first records. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff like that song and the song we represent, a few of those songs are really like hit the nail right on the head of like what's going on now. You know what I mean? And that's what you said in a nutshell. I mean, those lyrics we kind of already. I mean, what was that, like George Bush era? I don't even want to really get into politics that much, but that was probably like the George Bush era going on, I think, around those times. So we were definitely had our sights on that stuff, Whereas like now, I don't know if we'll write. I don't know what kind of lyrics we're gonna have on our new stuff yet. We're not really quite there yet. We only have a couple songs with some lyrics, but nothing really political yet.
Yeah, I feel like
it's almost like
material.
Yeah, well, it's easy. It's really easy to do right now with like what Dropkick is doing, and like that's pretty blatant stance, which I totally commend them for that. Because I think honestly they're the dudes that need to be doing that. Not to sound weird, but like you kind of heard that from the Latino band 20 years ago, and that's proof in those lyrics right there. And even before that, even like on our first album, we have a song about immigration. It's like we did that in '93. So it's a weird thing to be. I'm not saying been there, done that, but I personally am exhausted from all the news stuff going on and like all the political stuff just in general, where it's like I don't know what we're gonna write about now. Like I really want to just write about some other shit. I mean, I wish, but I mean, we're not really like necessarily like a love song band. Like we I don't know if we could really do what like the Descendants do. I mean, which I love. That's one of my biggest influences. But like it'd be weird if Voodoo just had a bunch of Descendants-y, lovey kind of songs. Not to say that they're all love songs, because I know they have some. They have some political songs, but they could write about relationships and it just works for them, like pretty good. Like we kind of had to I don't know, it's a weird slope for our band, but yeah, I mean the Tell the People song is a perfect example of like us already digging into politics way back then, and that was probably at least 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's why I've always been a fan. Is I always lean towards music with a meaning, and there's something behind it, and there's some depth to the lyrics.
Yeah, and that was we were trying to really dig a little deeper on those records and like that era. I mean, the first albums, I'm not going to say that. I mean, we were thinking that stuff, but we weren't as influenced yet as by like the Bush era and all that stuff. That was a little later, of course, and that's when we started to think about it more. And I'm sure we were influenced by stuff that we liked, because it's not like I wasn't paying attention to like No Effects or Fat Mike and what he was singing about, and other people that I love that you know are in the punk rock scene, you know, that are considered like heroes as far as like you know dudes that have lyrics with some depth that are like, wow, how do you come up with that? You know, dudes like him and you know Greg from Bad Religion, those guys. You know what I mean? And even Bill from the Descendants. Those are like the forefathers of songwriting and like lyrics and punk rock. Those and like a handful of ska bands I love. You know, there's a bunch of bands like that are like that's like the pinnacle. Like, you know, those guys have skills, you know.
I think you had a good one too, didn't you, Sarah?
Oh, Sarah's after me because yeah, she has a segue after hers.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go first. I actually was teetering back and forth between Insubordination and Empty Bottles, but I think I want to go Empty Bottles because I want to know like either who or what party inspired that song.
That was inspired by these backyard parties that we were in the first beginnings of the band, the very beginnings of the band. Like I said, we played backyard parties like right around our neighborhood. Like you can almost walk there from my parents' house. And there was a house that was on the top of a hill near my near right by my parents' house, where like the birthplace of BMX kind of happened there, like BMX racing. It all happened like in Riverside on Jones Street, which is like there's a track called the Jones Street track, and it's where like the dudes that ended up starting the like BMX racing like in the 70s all gravitated towards this one track. And there was a house up there that our friend lived in, and one of our first backyard parties was at this house. That influenced the song. That's pretty much it. You know, it was like, what do you write about when you're 19, 20? You know, you write about going to keg parties and running out of beer. That's basically what it is.
I always gravitate back to that time in my life for some.
Yeah, you know, you were. It was like that was before cell phones, and you would like follow your friends in a little caravan of cars up to the party kegger spot in the field. At least here, there was a lot of hills and open fields with like, you know, housing developments, and like there was a river bottom here still. So like there was places where high school kids knew to drive to. Where you could drink and, you know, you'd get beer pimped out by somebody, you know, like some adult would buy you beer, and then you drive with your beers to go, you know, park your cars and party, and you know, and that's what that's about. Pretty much about running out of beer, pretty much in a nutshell.
Well, my pick, I gotta know, who the heck is Randy and why is he fat? Like what's
yeah, and it's like
happening?
It's not like we don't think about now, like it's not really PC anymore. Like it seems like it makes the band sound like a bully or something like that. But in turn, we were kind of writing a song about being bullied in a way, though. That's sort of what the song is, if you really, you know, like pay attention to it. But I feel bad now. Like it's one of the songs I feel like we have to play at least every other show. But I actually feel a little bad about it. I mean, we have fun playing it still. But when I do think about it, going, oh man, it wasn't really like, now that you're an older dude, you're like, I don't want to really put this dude on blast, you know. But we don't mention his name, his full name, or anything like that, of course. But Randy was just a high school friend, I guess, sort of friend, like or like a person that was in the circle of the same 100 kids that went to keg parties from high school or whatever it was, and he would just be out of line, and it's kind of like a big dude, of course. A big giant dude that would get way too drunk and cause problems here and there. Not the whole time. There was just some, there was a few, like a few incidents. And the main one where the song came from is our trumpet player had invited some people over to his house, it was an apartment, and he kicked him out of his house after, was like, okay, you've been here for too long. It's time to go. I'm going to go to bed type of thing. And he supposedly came back in and snuck in his window and shit on his couch. Like, as like an anger prank type of thing.
Oh,
That's the story. He had no proof of it, but he was always like, oh, I swear he came in. I found this shit on my couch, and who else would have done it? I kicked him out of my house, and he was all like mad and like drunk. And it was one of those things where the dude stayed too long and he had to throw him out of his house, and he snuck back in. And we just wrote a song about it. I don't know. It just kind of came up real quick. It's one of those things that happens real fast, and you're trying to write something to write about. It seemed like a funny thing to write in a ska punk song like that. Sounded that way, and it was like, oh, this is perfect. And there's no one to tell you no. I mean, it was obviously wasn't a producer that said, hey, maybe you shouldn't write that song. So that's the difference between like a Voodoo and like a No Doubt. The Fat Randy Band doesn't play Coachella.
What makes you better, but that's just my opinion. So,
well, you know what I mean. That's just like that's what makes Voodoo Glow Skulls Glow Skulls is some of these little sophomoric little things. We were just like having fun. We were obviously having fun. If we wrote that song, I mean, we were obviously having a good time. It wasn't really ever meant to be. It was always kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing with us for the most part. It's like, oh, this music sounds funny. What could we write about to make it cool and funny? That's really it. There's always the serious moments here and there with the band, but not that one. But that's basically about a high school acquaintance. We saw him recently. He went to a show. He came out to, I guess, would be our second to last local show. We played a free show in downtown Riverside like 6 months ago, maybe, and he was there. Yeah.
Does he know that song?
Oh yeah, he was going to be in the music video. The music video was a disaster. The original Fat Randy video, which ended up on the cutting room floor, was a disaster. We tried to film a backyard party and recreate the old times when we did the real video for the song. And this is like in '95 when the song was about to come out. And Epitaph Records paid a whole budget and paid a director, and we like rented a house and all this crazy stuff to film this video. And the video was a disaster where it ended up getting scrapped. We ended up having to re-record and redo a whole new video in a new location because basically we got the original Randy to be in the video, to recreate like what the song says in a lot of ways. So we had a thing where we invited a bunch of people to come up to this rental house to be in the music video, and it just ended up turning into a wild backyard party. Like, just because booze was allowed, and it ended up being a disaster. By the time the real Randy got to the video set to be filmed, and they started actually doing the sets, the director was like, "Man, we have to scrap this." It's like they're like people mobbed him and like tried to tear off his clothes. It was like a disaster. It was almost like Carrie, like the movie Carrie.
Oh my God.
Like I mean, no one did that to him like that, like the movie, but it was like oh my God, like. I wasn't there for those parts. I was like away. I was like, we had like a trailer outside or something, backstage thing or something. So I just missed that because I wasn't required to film that part of the scene or whatever. But there was a moment or two where it's like they had to scrap the video because of these out of control friends that were essentially his friends. Mostly his friends showed up to the video shoot, our friends. And there was a disaster. We never saw the footage of that video. We never saw. But that's a story for you.
That's interesting. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
It was so traumatic.
Yeah, and I didn't. Hey, man, we weren't trying to traumatize anybody. That wasn't. But it was like kind of his own buddies, kind of like people that he, I imagine, he even talks to this day. It was like, like whoa, So we had to scrap the whole video shoot.
Find the
animals.
Video. No, I'm just kidding. Animals.
Somebody has that video somewhere.
I know, right? Where's the video?
Yeah, some director guy has that on like a little high little camcorder thing somewhere or something.
Right. So I know we spoke briefly about the Doctor Strange show, right? Which is super cool. But going from that to this is Not Croydon Fest, right? So that's coming pretty soon.
Yeah,
we're stoked.
Yeah, we're super excited. We've always loved coming out to Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia especially. And I know we're not that far away. We're maybe like an hour away from there.
Oh, not even.
Yeah, and I mean, I imagine we get some Philly kids that come out, but it's always cool. Like we've always just had a really good time coming out to that part of the country. We don't. I know it's not proper like East Coast exactly, but it's East Coast for us, and we haven't really been there quite as much as we'd want to. We always try to follow up and want to go back within a couple, within like a few times a year, and it just ends up being once every couple of years. And so I'm glad this is the one show we have so far this year there, and I'm glad that it's there. Last time was really cool. It's pretty much the same event. We did a couple years, a few years ago, and we're excited to play whichever part of the line. I mean, I think last time we played second or third to last. This time we're playing last on the show, which is cool. We don't mind. We don't mind either way. We like being sandwiched in the middle of shows, and then we'll play at the end. It's all good.
I have found that booking like small DIY shows that nobody wants to play headlining for those types of shows. I guess it's different with a bigger show because everyone's staying till the end and for the headliner. But
yeah, I mean,
oh, I don't want that spot, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, it's a little bit lazy in my opinion sometimes, and I understand that part of it because I mean, this is just me speaking for my band, but not on behalf of my band. Is I personally I think Voodoo Glow Skulls is better short but sweet. That's my opinion. But short but sweet still means that we fit in a lot of our songs. Like It doesn't mean that I feel like we're going to jip anybody and not give them good amount of what they would want. And those are usually those those 20 songs or whatever it is. But I feel like anything over an hour and 15 to an hour for Voodoo Glow Skulls, an hour and 20 is like a lot just for the energy of the band. And I just think that we kind of hit a little hard. And like we slow down a little bit, but I mean, we like to do it like the Ramones did back in the day. We just go, we don't like to take too many breaks. We don't. There isn't too much talking. So for me, that's why it suits us to play like, oh, you're good. Oh, thank you, Les and Jake, for 45 minutes. Perfect. That's why you'll see us do that a lot. And considering that we do go out with like bands like that who are a little bit bigger, that draw a little bit more, but we don't make any qualms about supporting bands, even if we're like supposedly another older band too that should headline or whatever. Like we not really that much into the ego part of it more than the like just wanting to do what we want part of it. And that's kind of like what we like doing is giving enough of our set, but sometimes it's not quite enough. 45 minutes. I wish I would have seen 3-4 more songs, but sometimes to me that's good. Maybe not for the fan. But for us,
you know what? It kind of leaves them wanting more too, so they want to see.
Yeah, it, right? I mean, and we feel like we could fit a lot in that much time. But when we supposed when we quote unquote like headline a show, that's cool too. I mean, we had a great time like at Supernova, and we felt it was maybe time for us to do that just to show like, hey, we should close the show once in a while, which we do, but not too often. We do once in a while, and like we're like, yeah, we'll close. We have plenty of songs, and it's not like we don't want to do it, but like we're just not the band that really I think wants to come up and just be coming back up for an extra half hour and hit people over the head with like a little bit more. I mean, sometimes we do, but we're kind of more like short and sweet is our message. Like a good hour of our band I think is just right.
Makes sense. I'm trying to think like Croydon Fest, how long that headlining slot is. It might be about an hour.
Yeah. See, it might not even be that. It might be like, like right under an hour or something like that. But we'll fit a lot in, like to where it feels like a headline set,
Right. I mean, you're playing with a lot of great bands that day.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just gonna run through them real quick. The day you're playing on Sunday, you have The Boy Detective, The Free Coasters, Title Holder, Stop the Presses, Metamoska, Droogs Don't Run, The Toasters, Against All Authority, and then Voodoo Glow Skulls.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in particular that you're excited to play with that maybe you've played with before and you're friends with?
We're always excited to play with the Toasters. We've done Bucket forever. Like we've done quite a bit of touring with them. So we've maybe done 3 or 4 tours, I want to say. It's been a little while since we've done a proper tour with them, but for a while we were touring with Toasters like every other tour for a minute. It felt like, and then we do events like these with them, like like this and like Supernova. So we'll end up seeing them every couple years, and yeah, I mean, I'm a fan, and it's always cool to see him. And he's an OG. You got to you got to give it up. Yeah, I mean, he's kept his music alive, for a long time, and always has a good lineup. It's always good to see him. So I'm looking forward to seeing him or seeing them. The Hub City Stompers dudes, I know that their band isn't playing that day, but some of those guys will be there because their other band's playing.
Right.
So those guys, Against All Authority, who we have toured with too in the past, at least a couple times, and we're pretty good friends with. I love Joe. Joe's awesome. He builds guitars these days, and they're just an awesome band. We had, like I said, we did some touring with them maybe in the mid 2000s. I want to say maybe 2005 to 2010, somewhere in there. That's the last time we really did like a proper tour with them, but we did some extensive amount of shows with them. We did like 2-3 weeks with them a few times, and they're great. They're one of the greats in that kind of music, in my opinion. Anybody who mixes that style, ska, punk rock, and that style, they're one of the best at it. I think.
Oh yeah.
And then yeah, I mean all the other young bands too, which we kind of crossed paths with, here and there. We just played with the Boy Detective on the Less Than Jake at the Wake and Bake. At the Wake and Bake
show. So
know. They were kind of a younger band. They played on the Wake and Bake show with us on one of the days, which is cool. And then Mata Mosca from LA. So it's cool to see like the LA bands finally getting out more and more, because we've seen like this little scene kind of come up for a while now, and then now there's bands from the LA ska punk scene or ska scene coming out, and you've seen them. We cross paths with some now more and more, which is cool to see, which makes sense because all these years pass and eventually these bands got to hit the road, so it's cool to see some bands from LA getting sprinkled on some shows that we've done throughout the years now, like across the country or all over the world even.
I do have a listener asking about, she just saw you at Wake and Bake, and she wanted to know how Gainesville was. She's been a fan for 30 years.
Wow, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thanks for being a fan for that long.
Her name is Kristen.
Gainesville was awesome. It was the perfect time. Like, I love that shit. You get to fly in and you get put up in a nice little hotel, and they're downtown, and it's like cool little Florida downtown with all the shopping and cool bars, and I love that shit. It's like sort of like a college town, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to be in those guys' hometown because we've known Less Than Jake forever, since almost day one, since he started their band. So we've known them for a long time, and they're a cool, fun, successful band, and one of the greats in that scene, in my opinion. And they've done the work, and it's cool when your friends' bands are doing fun, cool stuff in their hometown, and they invite you to come party. That's pretty much it. We got to see their hometown a little bit more. It's always cool to just be posted up somewhere and like for a couple days, because that doesn't happen a lot. That happens to us once in a great while. We'll be somewhere for a couple days and get to soak it in. But it was cool to be in their town and just kind of see where they kind of came up, and go to the same local bar and like restaurant for a couple days in a row, and like walk around their, like I said, their little downtown area. That was cool. And it's always cool when your hotel is like a walking distance from the show. I love that. Like, it's always just fun shit when you're like, oh, we just walked off stage, the hotel's right there. You can just walk a couple blocks and stop at the bar on the way there or back, or food. There's everything, and the whole scene is just there on the corner hanging out, like the people that were at the show. I mean, it was just a fun hang. But yeah, I had a good time. We all had a good time in that town.
I have actually never been to Gainesville. I've never been to the fest. I need to make it down there for that. Have you played that?
No, we've actually never been asked to play the fest. So it's always been few and far between when we come to Gainesville. We usually come to Florida, but there's never really a Gainesville show on the Florida schedule. It's always like the major cities, and that seems to be like it should be one of them, but I know it's not like the biggest city, so I guess that's maybe why. So we always just go to like the main stops, like Jacksonville, Orlando. Pensacola's kind of small. I guess we end up going there over Gainesville. I know they're maybe not that close to each other, but there's always the same stops, and that's not one of them. So it was cool that because we've never been on the fest, it was actually cool for them to put us on their fest because we had to do it. We got to do a special thing with just Les and Jake. You know, it's kind of cool and different.
And so, kind of changing course a little bit from that. You guys were featured in an exhibit, 60 Miles East.
Yep.
Punk rock exhibit in Riverside. Pretty cool. I was reading about that earlier today, and you guys had a really cool setup display.
Oh yeah, they totally hooked us up.
Yeah, that was cool. I think you guys donated one of your guitars from the 90s you played. Is that correct?
Yeah, they asked us for a bunch of stuff, and they're like all local dudes, of course. So it was easy for them to just come by my house and my brother's house and just pretty much take what they want or what we had to give. So, I mean, my house is just so much full of Voodoo Glow Skulls stuff that it's like,
cool.
Please take it. It's like take it off our hands because it's going to collect dust or just be in some shed or garage somewhere because can't possibly have all this voodoo stuff and look at it all day in my own house. You know, there's some stuff up, but right? Well, you know, there's a lot of stuff. So it was kind of cool to just be able to just go here, take it off our hands, and display it how you'd like. Thanks for even including us and being into it because it's not like you just live your own life and you don't go around thinking of who might be into what you do or any of that unless people tell you. So it's cool to be recognized, of course, and to have people care. And we ended up with an awesome display, a giant wall of stuff for people to see, you know, which it's cool to see it in a display when it's like, you know, it's like a culmination of stuff from everyone's house. You see like, oh, you had that? I don't have that kind of thing. And like, oh, I have a bunch of that, you know, like, So it's weird to see like a poster and you have like multiples of 10 in your house. And there's like, oh, there it is on the wall. One of them, like, it's kind of funny, like little things like that. But yeah, we donated some rare stuff, of course, too. Like the guitar that I played throughout the most of our heyday, like throughout the 90s. I donated that to them. And then like a trombone that was used, I'm sure, which I don't even know what era, but I just gave them stuff, you know, like that were for sure, you know, from the band. And a bunch of posters and flyers, of course, a bunch of backyard party memorabilia, like little flyers and little things like that. They ended up doing a good job. They found a bunch of old merchandise, which is cool, like T-shirts we forgot about, and just, you know, a bunch of old records, and you know, like a whole vinyl collection.
Right.
But yeah, that just ended. It was up for 6 months at the Riverside Art Museum, and then now it did so well that they're looking for a permanent building now, to where it's going to be like that display is going to be a year-round thing, and then they're going to do shows and they're going to do shows and do like events, because they were doing events this whole 6 months there, and it was pretty popular. Like they would announce that they're doing like a fanzine like workshop, and then they would have a bunch of people show up, and there would be like a good amount of people would show up to like learn how to make fanzines or how to like old school, like copy and paste like graphics, and like they were doing pretty cool stuff that reminded me of back in the day. So I think there was enough interest for those guys to want to find a building now, and to just always have those same displays up. And then, like I said, do events. They want to do all the events that they were doing, plus shows. They want to do a venue.
That's cool to represent the deep IE with all of that. Like you guys are like the cornerstone, like the foundation, you know, with the ska punk scene in SoCal. So to have something like that and to have
I mean, like I said, like I said, if you were to tell me that like it would amount to somebody wanting to display our stuff forever in a wall, like a little Smithsonian type thing, I'll be like, whoa, that like for real? That's great. I mean, I know we have fans of the music. I know it's there, but like I said, especially like in the DIY kind of punk world, you know, we're like in punk rock, so we don't really come to the commercial side of things, even though we've experienced a lot of like some fame stuff and little things here and there. So it's like you just go around and live your life, you know, realize, oh, I guess we did make a little impact on people here and there. People still listen to music now that still blows me away. Like, whoa, you listen to that now on Sirius XM or whatever it is, and it blows me away that people still do that. So to get recognized is amazing. Just the fact that anybody would want some guitar I played, you know, just in a display is like, whoa, like, thank you. You know, that's all you could do is just be kind of great, you know, kind of grateful for that. And be glad that you put the work in, I guess, you know.
You're loved, man. And quick question before we move on to our winding up the thing is totally random. But do you remember, so 2 years ago when you played at Croydon Fest at Broken Goblet the first time?
Yeah.
Remember, like, in between songs, like somebody randomly yelled, Viva la Raza. And I think Ephraim asked you, like, who said that? And
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah.
Well, that was me.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, wow. See, I do remember that because Ephraim, I remember that one moment from the show because Ephraim's always he was good at banter back and forth with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys look so confused because I'm like super pale. You're like, who's this pale chick? And like, Eastern.
Oh, no, I mean, I think we were probably more like, where the fuck are we? Like we're, because I know that's not far, but I mean, we're like, is this like Quaker? Is this like Quaker country or whatever? Like, because it's to me like Pennsylvania. Once you get out of the big cities, I think of all that stuff.
Yeah. But to hear somebody yell "Viva la Raza" because that's a very like specific Chicano, so
yeah, that's funny. I do remember that. Did he say anything back?
No, because I saw him. He mouthed the words to you. Who said that? And you pointed at me, and I was waving, and you both like.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm half Hispanic. My dad is like a proud Chicano, so like I know all about that history. But I'm like super white, so like I feel like you guys were like,
no. I mean, you don't. Yeah, I mean, you'd pass. You'd pass. I mean, I think we'd be like, oh, but I do remember. I do remember that, but we were probably more like baffled as like, well, this seems awfully like not the place necessarily. Like it would be like maybe if we were like in Philly, like we're like the deep city, then it's like you expect that more than like. I mean, I know we're not that far out, but to me, that's kind of more the sticks, right? It's like an hour away. To me, that's like not the sticks, but it's a little bit.
It's like 20 minutes away from Center City, really.
Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, that's real close then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's the kind of like a Philly show. That makes me feel better.
Sarah should disclose that she's not from here.
Oh yeah. Really? So I'm from SoCal. So
okay.
I'm from the Chino area. So that's why I'm like representing, the IE and stuff. So that's So but that's how I know.
It's just a different thing. I mean, we kind of recognize it, but it's like, when you go to the East Coast, it's like, how do you say it? It's like less Latino. There's more like, there's maybe more like, kind of European or like kind of like there's Italians and there's Italians and like Jewish peeps, more types,
Yeah.
And it'll also throw us off a little bit once in a while because it seems a little bit more rare. I mean, I know it's always there. There's always Mexican food spots and stuff, and there's always Latinos and blah blah blah. But it probably threw us off because we always expect more like, okay, this is where like all of our Italian and Jewish friends live. Like that's the vibe. You know what I mean? And then everyone else that's like Dutch or Russian. We have Russian and Dutch friends and like Jewish and Italian friends in New York.
Yeah. So I should have yelled "Viva la pasta" instead. Is what you're
saying.
Right?
No, but I do remember. I do remember. Okay. That's funny.
I just had to bring it up because like you guys looked like what, and I was like, oh gosh, they probably think who is this chick? Okay, cool.
No, he was probably tripping. Yeah, he's probably that's funny.
So I think you need to scream that again this year, Sarah.
Yeah.
For all time.
But thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So before we move on to our speed round, which is kind of where we wrap it up, is there anything that we didn't ask that you want to bring to the table to have our listeners hear about?
I think you guys covered it. I mean, I'm at you guys' disposal, so anything that anybody wanted to ask would be it. Really, I don't know. Like, I mean, we're just doing our thing, right? Right now we're just really focusing on playing all these shows and giving people the best show that we can because it's like now's the time to do it. Now, we're at that point with our band. So it's like we've been there for a while, but now that my brother's back, it's like these are the moments to just give people what they might want out of us. Like as far as like our point in time, like in history, and our age too. It's like now you might get prime like Voodoo Glow Skulls with a good lineup again. So now's the time to do it before we're. I hate to say it, but too old to do it. And like so it feels like you get Voodoo Glow Skulls in a kind of a prime sense again right now. We feel like we have a great lineup right now. Like it's functioning on all cylinders right now again. And we always made it a point to have that happen. But right now, more than ever, we're pretty focused on the band and on the songs and on being tight live and having a good show.
Right. Well, I do see you have some shows coming up that we should let people know about because not everybody is here and coming to this is Not Croydon Fest, although it does have a very big people traveling for it.
Yeah.
Like it's not quite as much as Supernova, but there are people coming in from all over the place.
No, I love that. The fact that there's like almost like niche little festivals that are like
Yeah.
find their own
Mhm.
place, and it's like bands that those guys that they want. And it's like the cool niche thing, and there's enough people to make it fun.
Yeah, we got
Other
another
your
co-host
shows
coming in
and
from California even.
Yeah. Oh, right on,
yeah,
man.
we do. We have someone coming in from California from our team, from the
Oh,
SKAgazine team.
oh, sick.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's always cool to just see people from the scene out and about.
Mhm. And we sponsor the festival. This is our second year sponsoring,
Oh,
so
right on.
we're a main stage sponsor, and we'll be
Oh,
doing it
that's great.
on
Thank
site
you so
as
much for
well.
doing that. That's cool. We're just glad to be a part of it and glad to get asked. And
Right.
I appreciate that there's a scene, and I'm grateful that there's a scene like that there because we've been at this for a long time, and the fact that it's come full circle and there's like these people doing these like their own little cool festivals for the specific scene, and it's to me it's just like the right amount of people. Like I said, doesn't we do every type size show imaginable now, and like I'll welcome the little bar show to the mid-size ska festival to the big blown out rock festival. We kind of get to do it all. So this is like right up our alley. Like this is like the amount of people we like playing in front of.
Nice.
Awesome.
So, what are these other shows you have coming up? You have two in Mexico. One is the Skankin Festival, and one is the Rock Out Mexico in the
Yep.
first week of May.
Yeah, those are right after the weekend after the Croydon Festival. Those are May 1st and 2nd. Pretty much out. One is in Mexico City, like the surrounding areas of Mexico City. And then the other one on the 1st, on the day before, is about 4 hours out of Mexico City in a different town. And yeah, I mean, we're playing with our friends from Mexico City called Out of Control Army.
I've seen them at Supernova. They were amazing.
Yeah, they're great. To me, they're one of the best bands doing ska in the world at the moment. Like if proper ska is your thing, like just two-tone style, like two-tone bands that are wearing suits, have keyboards and horn section, the whole 9 yards. That's the band for you, if you ask me. They're somewhere in between, like a rock steady traditional band and the Specials, playing like two-tone style ska. They're one of the best at it. They're great, and we always kind of pair up with them because one of their guys is our booking agent out there, so he books the shows. So we're doing the Skanking Festival with them. And then the next day we're playing the Rock Out Festival. That's with Bad Religion and Cox Bar, a bunch of other bands. Say Ferris, another 90s era ska punk band, which is cool. It's cool to cross paths with her and them. So that's on the 2nd, and then we have the Doctor Strange Festival, May 23rd. That's in Pomona, California. The Doctor Strange Summer Bash, and then a tour we're about to announce tomorrow. When does this get aired?
Well, you're
now.
live right
We're
now.
live
right
There's a
now.
couple people watching.
Well, we're about to announce a tour tomorrow. Today's Tuesday. We're announcing a tour tomorrow. We're going to be in Texas. There's like 5 dates in Texas, and then on the way there and back, we're doing a show in Albuquerque and a couple of shows in Arizona, in Mesa, and in Tempe. So we're about to do 9 shows. Yep, we're about to announce a tour, which I guess I can't announce with who because I'll keep it a surprise, sort of. It's not a ska band, but we're about to announce like a co-headline tour tomorrow, and mostly Texas.
That's cool.
And the Southwest, and that gets announced tomorrow. That's like 9 shows in a row in June, so that's right after the stuff in May that I just mentioned, and then there's a lot more after that. That's just about to get announced.
Yeah, I see you also have already announced Rock La Cause in Quebec.
Yep.
And Ska Brewing Anniversary Party.
Yeah, the Ska Brew anniversary party in Durango in September. Durango, Colorado, that is. For their the Ska Brewing anniversary party, and then The other one you said is in Quebec, Canada. It's a festival in Quebec, Canada, with was like Zebrahead and a few other bands. I can't think of this off the top of my head, but there's it's always cool going there. I mean, that part of Canada is amazing. Or I mean, all of Canada, I should say, but the East Coast part of Canada and the French part, the French Quarter part is really cool. Like shows have always been I've always gone off there. It's always like, you know, top 5 spot for sure. They're just wild shows. So we're doing that, and then there's another tour that we're gonna do at the end of the year, like I said, with the Coffin Cats. I believe in November. That's coming up. Actually, I guess I can announce it, but the tour we're about to do is with the Necromantics, and that's coming up in June. We're doing 9 shows with them, which should be cool. You know, it's like it's a different lineup, you know. So we're doing that with those guys for 9 days, and then there's some kind of sporadic stuff in like July and August. The whole summer we're kind of taking stuff as it comes, and like we pretty much have something every month until the end of the year, like as it is right now. So we're booked out the rest of the year, the next 6 months, and then some, and it's just stuff slowly kind of getting announced. You know, there's some local shows that are about to get announced, as well as a Doctor Strange one that's already announced. But there's some other stuff that's going to be announced for the rest of the year. And like I said, another tour in November with Coffin Cats on more like the East Coast, Midwest parts of the country. And then we're just kind of waiting for what comes next too. You know, there's always something that comes up in 6 months. So we're kind of excited about what could come next, because it's already looking pretty good. Like the rest of the year is booked up without even really trying too hard, thankfully. So now it's like what's going to come next? Hopefully some cool thing, you know.
Can I ask if that has something to do with Coffin Cat's annual Thanksgiving show?
You know what?
Maybe.
I'm not. That's funny you said that. I think we're starting. I think they're doing their show, and I think we start right after that. I think, or we start the tour. Like I'm not sure if that's part of it. It might be part of it, but I honestly don't know. I know that we start in and around Thanksgiving, but I'm not sure if it's going to be like one of those things where Thanksgiving happens and then we start to tour them like right after, like the day after, or if we're already going to be in that part of the country and then we have like a day off on Thanksgiving and then play their. We might be on their show. I just don't know yet. I haven't seen the dates yet, but
yeah, a lot of times they use that show as a launch point for their
so that's definitely
winter tours.
That's definitely that's the tour that's starting. I mean, I could definitely confirm it's starting on the week of Thanksgiving. I just don't really know the dates yet, so I don't know. I'm not sure if we're going to start with them or if we like jump on. Like, you know, sometimes you start like right after the local show, then you jump on the next day. But we might be very well on their local show. I to be honest with you, I just don't know the exact dates yet. But it does start in November, and it is coming through the Midwest. So that might actually be the show, you know, where it starts.
Token Lounge, signs point to yes.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool, to be honest with you, if we did do the show with them there. But that if anything, that means we have our own show like in Detroit. If it's not with them. You know, that most signs lead to us likely doing a show like that, you know.
Yeah. Well, insider information. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. But we will be out there like for about 9-10 days with them.
Sweet.
Yeah, those guys are a ton of fun. I love seeing Vic playing on his bass and then wearing it as a hat, and they're really theatrical on stage. It's fun seeing them.
Yeah, I like playing bands that are just like that are just starting to come up a little bit. I've heard about them for years, and then now it seems like they're coming into their own a little bit more. Like I see their name a lot with bands that we know, you know. So it's just a matter of time before you end up playing with a band that's like on the come up or something, you know, like in the scene. It's just we always like to cross paths with bands that work hard, and that seemed to make sense. Like in the same. Not necessarily the same type of music, but that makes sense with the scene, you know. Like, so we like to mix it up a little bit. So I'm glad it's not, you know, somebody who's too similar, you know.
I'm kind of curious if social media is a way that you find some of the bands that you're playing with and you're going to tour with and stuff like that. Because that's one of the things we're doing to try to help some of the local bands is providing them some good promo material so that way they have stuff to submit to festivals to try to get on tours
Yeah.
with bands like the Glow Skulls. Like, do you think that's valuable for bands right now?
Oh yeah. I mean anything is. I mean for any kind of communication, like just to meet people. But I mean, especially when it comes into any kind of like business like that, is that's what that's kind of for, man. I think it's. I mean, I definitely find out about new bands like anyone else when like when like a reel pops up of some new band or some song or something like what is this, uh, that comes up a lot. You find out about new bands in the scene and old bands putting out like some new stuff. Uh, that's what I think a lot of people if between that and TikTok, I think people rely on that now. You know what I mean? And that's a good tool. I mean, we've definitely, I'm sure we've we've hooked up with bands because of the internet here and there. There has to be a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think today there's so much music out there that you have to have something that sets you apart and catches someone's eye in order for you to get heard.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
think it's helpful.
Oh yeah.
Are there any new bands that you've discovered recently that you would like to tell us about that maybe our listeners might not have heard yet?
New bands. Oh wow, that's a good one. Well,
Not necessarily new, but maybe
I already
someone lesser
spoke on.
known.
Well, I already spoke on Out of Control. I mean, Out of Control Army is one I would definitely talk up. I know I just spoke about them, but circling back to that, for ska scene stuff, for like, which is this is obviously related to that. Definitely that band. That's one of those bands, and there are so many good bands. We were just in Mexico, so it's easy for me to speak about Mexico. There are so many great bands from there where you're like, to take your pick of every style, like from traditional to the heaviest ska core type band. Out of Control Army, Secta Core from Mexico City, who's been around forever, who've been around for a good 25, 30 years or something. Those guys have put the work in, and they're still putting the work in Mexico, especially. Um, those two bands, I would say. I know I'm drawing a blank. I mean, I like Bite Me Bambi. They're like,
Yeah.
Cool third wave vibe, or I guess fifth wave now, whatever you call it. But whatever, coming out of Orange County type ska, they're one of the best ones doing that right now out of Orange County. And it kind of to me lives up to that sound a little bit. Whatever you consider that sound somewhere between Real Big Fish and Save Ferris and Fishbone and whatever you call it, that they're doing good, and they're kind of carrying the torch for that kind of music right now.
Awesome. We're going to put you on the spot with one more. We have a listener question. Silly Boy wants to know, what are 5 albums you can't live without?
Ooh, dang, that's a good one. 5 albums I can't live without. That's like narrowing it down. I might be dating myself with some of this stuff too, because it'll be like, that's not ska. What do I name? I don't even know what to name as first. I would say that the Specials, like the one album that everyone knows by the Specials, like the first album, the Specials album, Op Ivy Energy is up there for sure. Fishbone, I would say the first Fishbone, the first EP, that one. So that's already covered like ska type music right off the bat and punk rock. Wow, what else? To be honest, I think Blood Sugar Sex Magic by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Because in like 9091, when like Voodoo was still figuring out a sound and a style, that record was huge. And it was a big deal. That's like a Beatles record to some people. I mean, that for the moment,
Mhm.
that record, I would say Iron Maiden, The Number of the Beast. So those are 5 records right off the bat.
First 5 that came to your mind, right?
Yeah, the first 5 that kind of came to my mind. There's a lot, but yeah.
And that could change every day, I'm sure. Like, I know for me.
I mean, it runs the gamut of that style.
Right.
Like if it's not Op Ivy, I'll name like the first Boss Tones record or something like it's all comparable, but yeah, I would say that's a good list for me for what I've been influenced by. There's so much more, but like for me to say like a Beatles record or something would be weird because it's not really my generation. And I love that stuff, but it's like not like a Beatles record or not necessarily like a Led Zeppelin record. And I love old rock and stuff like that. But I would say like the stuff that really like I could the top five is pretty secure, I think. The first Fishbone EP, the only Operation Ivy album, whatever else I said, the Iron Maiden record. Yeah, that's about right. All that stuff. The specials.
I like how they're not all the same, like genres or styles. Like,
oh no, there's even
I
other
love
genres that I'm probably forgetting. There's like probably a hip hop or rap, 90s rap record in there somewhere that I can't think of right now because there's like a Beastie Boys record in there. I'm sure that I'm thinking about, or like there's all kinds of stuff. But yeah, that's the whole point. It's kind of why we sound the way we do and confuse everybody.
That's what we love.
That's awesome.
All right, well, we're going to move on to our speed round, which we're going to do a little bit different this week. Since you're out on the West Coast and we're out on the East Coast, well, Ryan's in the Midwest, but me and Sarah are on the East Coast right now. We're going to play a little East Coast versus West Coast. So for each question, you're going to give us an answer for each coast.
Okay.
We'll start with your favorite food to eat on each coast.
Oh, wow. Favorite food on the East Coast. Man. That's a good one. Well, I mean, it's kind of basic though. I think in Philly, like Philly cheesesteaks, man.
This was
I haven't eaten like that. I haven't eaten like that in a while. But I would say that.
So when you're here for your Philly cheesesteaks, I'm going to tell you, don't go to Pat's and don't go to Gino's.
Yeah.
Everybody will tell you they're the places, but they're not. I am going to tell you, actually, Broken Goblet, where This Is Not Croydon Fest is, has a new eatery or new food place inside called Pizza Pit, and their cheesesteaks are amazing.
Yeah, see, there's always people always seem to be in the know. We get pointed out stuff like that, but I mean, to be honest with it's kind of funny. We like stopping at Wawa because they don't have them out here.
Yeah.
We have kind of an ongoing joke about Wawa because one of our actually happens to be a friend of ours from Philadelphia, has like a Philadelphia accent and always tells she's the one that got us started on going there back in the day, at least about 20 years ago. So we always kind of quote her and make fun of her. But that's the stop. Like, cause we went there way too much on our last East Coast tour. Cause it was like, get it in while you can. So the week that we were in Florida or up there in the East Coast, we were just hitting Wawa like every day after the show.
Yeah, because
every night,
all along the coast.
Every night
up here in the Northeast,
we were just like done with it, you know.
Do you have a oh wait, we didn't hear the West Coast food yet.
West Coast food?
Yeah.
Oh, I think pretty much. I think like anywhere with like carne asada fries is the way to go. So that's like a broad thing, but like anywhere where you could get French fries with like chopped meat, chopped like Mexican meat on top of it with cheese and sour cream and guacamole. It's amazing, I
have never had that.
Yeah, it's basically carne asada fries. It's like basically like like meat that you'd put in tacos,
right?
But on top of French fries. Huh. So it's like nacho fries basically.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing.
Poutine, maybe?
So you kind of can't go wrong with that. I mean, almost most places that offer it up, I think.
So, quick question, IE question.
Yeah.
Bakers, In-N-Out, or Farmer Boys?
Oh man, that's a good one.
I knew it.
Our Farmer Boys is out, even though it's okay and it has its moments. But like for Farmer Boys, I get like orange juice for some reason there. It's like fresh orange juice in it. Yeah. So it's like different, but it's legit. They have legit food, like in all aspects. But man, that's a good one because they're both right around the corner from my house.
I know.
I would say, ooh, that's a tough one. I like Baker's a lot because it's really like native to Riverside, especially.
Yeah.
I mean, In-N-Out is like in Nevada and Arizona now, and it's kind of branching out, which is not make it bad, but I mean, I mean, Baker's is really IE. so maybe I'm not saying that's why I like it more.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a reason to like it more because it's just like native to like this county, and it's so good that it competes with all that other shit, you know. But I would say that Baker's maybe, but dude, I just had In-N-Out, and I like teeter in and out of vegan. Like I've mostly been a vegan for a long time, right? But once in a while, I'll just fall off, just to like, I don't know why. I'm not really proving anything to myself, and I don't really like feel like I have to prove anything to anybody else. But once in a great while, I'll just eat something I felt like I missed just to see what I'm missing still, and I'll be like, okay, this is what it is. Okay, I don't really miss it that much. I'll eat it one time, and I won't eat it for 2 years. But I had In-N-Out animal style fries recently, and a double, and it was amazing, and that's enough to like, I understand why people would want to eat that every day. When you eat it once, after a while, you're like, oh man, because it's so good.
Very depressed, Eddie. They don't
Yeah.
have Jersey.
Oh, you don't have that out there. That's
No!
right. Oh man, yeah. See,
have Wawa.
Del Taco,
Yeah.
El Pollo Loco, Jack in the Crack, none of that.
Oh wow. See,
Nothing.
that's all around me, and I kind of avoid it now. But dude,
Shut up, Eddie.
it's like literally like right here. Like everything's almost walking distance. But
I know, Eddie.
Baker's being real close to me. See, I think Baker's just because I was about to say Del Taco, but that's not everywhere either. But Baker's is like, and it's not even a good example because it's like Taco Bell meets In-N-Out Burger.
No, I get it.
They have the Mexican food side there.
Yeah.
So Baker's for you East Coast and Midwest peeps, and then South, I guess, that aren't used to that. Baker's is basically a fast food place that's like the equivalent of like a good burger spot, like maybe some of the best like cheeseburger spots you could have for fast food, but they have like a whole Mexican side of the menu where you just get like tacos and burritos, and you get French fries and like burgers and shakes and all that stuff too. But it happens to just be really good, and then you could get like flavored milkshakes of all kinds. You can mix all the flavors of milkshakes there, which is good. So you can mix and match and get like a banana chocolate milkshake, and they'll make it for you. You know, so like they kind of like have a lot of choices, and then if you're gonna go fast food and go all out, man, Baker's might win just because the options.
Yeah.
But In-N-Out is obviously like top tier level, you know, fast food eating burger experience. You know.
Yeah. Anytime I visit my family and friends back in SoCal, I stop off at all those places, and I
Oh yeah.
10
You
pounds.
can't go wrong. Yeah, that's like a treat, man. That's like, what better way to get dopamine hits than have a chocolate shake with a burger or like animal style fries, dude. It's like, like I said, I just had that, and it takes all the willpower from me to just do it once in the year, because it's like, bro, I could just go and it's a mile away, not even a mile.
I know.
Yeah.
Alcohol's not my drug of choice. It's Baker's or In-N-Out.
Yeah, no, I understand because
Tommy's.
I don't really party. Like I barely drink. So yeah.
Same. Tommy's. I miss Tommy's. Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Tommy's. It's been a while, but there's Tommy's around too. And I just saw a thing on Instagram about the original Tommy's, and of course, it made me want to go back to that place too. You know.
We've got the last Hot Now that's open in Michigan, if that counts for anything. I don't know.
What is?
Hot Now?
Oh, what is that?
It's just a burger joint. It was big for a while back in like 90s, early 2000s, and then almost all of them shut down except for like the lone one. It's like the last Blockbuster almost.
Yeah, see it. Yeah, as a I don't know how to say it. As a honorary fat boy, I welcome all the fast food talk. Like that's hey. You know about an interesting burger spot? That's cool, man.
We got one that's dedicated to the 50s. You can get your picture taken with like Elvis and shit like that. There's a bunch of figures and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Always fun. That's what more fun? What else is there? But like, you know, food and drink really, and music. You know,
we don't really have any good burger places here that I know of. Sarah, do we? It's all about the cheesesteaks here.
It's not big. Yeah, this area's not big on like a good burger. Yeah. It's very weird. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess that's a good point. I don't think about like Philadelphia hamburgers. Mm-hmm. Like, right? Jerky. That's not like. Yeah. Is it like an Italian influence thing maybe on the food?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because that's really what your guys kind of what people talk about. I
Yeah.
guess. I
And
mean,
this
I'm sure there's other stuff, but
Cheesesteak, soft pretzels, and
oh,
water
pretzels, that makes sense.
ice.
That's cool.
If you've never had water ice, you should have some when you come.
What is it?
Water ice?
Oh, what is that?
It's
cup of water with ice. No, I'm just kidding. That's what I thought when I first moved down.
Oh, that's
no,
what I
it's
thought you
not
said.
though.
So, okay, so I heard
kind
you
of
right. You
like,
said water ice.
you know how you have like a snow cone and they pour like the sugar
Yeah.
syrup on top of it? Well, this is like a full like mush crushed up ice that's like loaded with sugar.
Oh, sounds like it's right up my alley too.
It is an Italian thing, and I'm
Oh,
not
is it?
Italian. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, see, I love that stuff too. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, yeah, I mean, you know what else I had there that was good, and it's been a while, but there's a Chinatown there.
Oh yeah.
And I had amazing Chinese food there a few times.
Yeah.
Like, we used to play at the Trocadero back in the day.
Oh, it's close.
I missed the Troc. It was always cool.
I missed the truck.
We played there maybe 4 to 6, maybe half a dozen times there, like back in the day.
Yeah,
And
I think I've seen you there.
I know it was in the heart of China. It was like right there in the heart of Chinatown. So I used to get tattooed right there around the corner by this tattoo shop, and then get Chinese food right there. That was like a thing.
Yeah.
And that was good food there, and that stands out.
And speaking of venues and the Troc and stuff, do you have a favorite venue to play on both the West and East Coast?
East Coast, what would be a favorite venue? It seems like we don't go enough to like even have a favorite venue right now. Like, I would say like if we go every year or every 6 months, then we would know for sure.
It was the
But
Troc.
I had fun. Well, the Trocadero would be an old like favorite. That was some good memories playing there. There was I'm drawing a blank. The place we used to play at the Brooklyn Knitting Factory in New York, which I think is still there.
I want to say it is, but I'm not.
Yeah, I like playing that one. It's just the right size. It's not too big, too small. It was always packed out. Cool stage. I always felt really good at that club and that stage, because it's definitely a thing, being comfortable in a club, and like being like where you feel like comfortable on a stage, and where you feel, there's certain places where you feel a little bit extra. I always like that venue.
They closed down.
Oh, okay.
They did.
In 2000 and where did I just see that? 2022.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Places just come and go so quick, too.
Yeah.
But on the East Coast, there's always been a few, or even the Midwest. We always like playing at St. Andrews Hall in Detroit. Was always good, or is always good. We were, I want to say we were there with Les and Jake last, maybe a little over a year ago. So we were there with them and played St. Andrews. And then I like the Metro in Chicago was always good back in the day. So there's all kinds of spots really that are either there or not there anymore. Most of them, I think, being there still.
What about West Coast? I'm curious.
West Coast right
Yeah.
now, man, there's so many places. Right now, you know what I really like a lot? I really like playing at the Garden Amp.
Oh, okay.
The Garden Amp in Garden Grove.
Yeah.
Here in Orange County.
Yeah.
That's really cool, because there's no real place like that. Like, I'm sure they're there somewhere, like in the country or something, but not really. Like, it's a cool little amphitheater that's just the right size for bands like ours. It holds like 1,000 people ish around there.
Yeah.
And then you're mostly outside, but you're kind of like, feels like you're a little bit indoors too. But it's an outdoor venue, and yeah, I just really like that place. It's just like an intimate little amphitheater. It's like all the things you like about outdoor shows, I guess, without too much of it. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's like the place where you want to see a band like ours, in my opinion. Unless it's just cold outside, which is typically not too cold out here. So it's usually a good place to see a band,
Yeah.
That I would say that place is a favorite right now for this time being, I guess.
Sweet. That's cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Sweet.
Is there any venue or place, not necessarily a venue, but place that you've never gotten to play that you want to play on your bucket list?
Oh yeah, I mean, maybe some of them are out of reach, but to be honest with you, we hit a couple milestones that I never thought we would reach anyways. Is like for our level. Like, there's certain places you don't even think about, because you're just like, oh, bands like ours don't play there, or
Mhm.
bands, it's like a little bit out of our radar because that's a more of a commercial place or whatever. But we did the Hollywood Bowl a little over a year ago, which wasn't even like on our radar. Like I know what the Hollywood Bowl is. Obviously, there's like the Danny Elfman thing every year and blah blah blah, but never like I thought more like, oh, maybe we'll open up for somebody like maybe at like the Forum or somebody, where maybe punk rock bands get to play a little bit. But even that's unattainable, kind of just because the level. That's more like big rock bands and stuff. So I don't really think about those places so much. But the Hollywood Bowl came up out of left field because we just got asked to open for a band that was it was fans of our band. So then that opens up the floodgates of like, oh, maybe it's possible. Like we could do this. Cause I've seen like NoFX play some places, some of the bigger bands from punk. The way I see it, if they can do it, then we could do it. That's how I see it. If NoFX has been there in the Offspring, then there's always hope for like a Voodoo. Because if those bands could do it, because let's face it, we're from the same scene. It's just the fact that some of those bands are just a little bit more, commercial or whatever. So anytime those bands play somewhere, then I'm always like, oh, there's hope. That means that Voodoo could do it. Like at least we could do it within the stylistically, So I would say to get to make the answer even longer. Red Rocks would be that venue. I guess Red Rocks and would be one of those bucket list venues now, which I have thought about before, just because how cool it looks and how I've always wanted to do it. And I see bands that are sort of our contemporary bands have played it. Not quite, but like those bands that are like sort of within the same genre play it. So yeah, that would be cool to get asked to do something there, to be on some festival there. That would be just cool to say we did that one because the Hollywood Bowl, to be honest with you, kind of surpassed most of them. Like in a nutshell, it was like, oh, you got an opportunity to play this. When I never thought about this venue, I always thought about these venues. Like, right. And it's like we kind of bypassed them at playing like kind of like the biggest one in a way.
You gave yourself a ceiling.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like the one I never even dreamed of at all wasn't even on my radar because I was like, that's a Philharmonic and the Jazz Festival and the Danny Elfman, like the Nightmare Before Christmas thing and Pink Floyd, like crazy big thing, So I never thought about it. And then when that one came up, it like surpassed the other ones. Like it's like, oh, straight to the Hollywood Bowl, then it's like the Forum would seem small, but it would still be like Red Rocks or maybe for LA, it'd be like playing the Forum, like just to get to ask to do it and be on some show with some punk band or some bigger band that's famous right now would be cool. That would be fun. We've done a lot of cool bucket list places already,
Sweet.
Talking of all these venues across the country, I'd like to hear about some of your shenanigans. Can you tell us about like a tour story, maybe funny or traumatic, whatever suits your fancy?
Man, where do I start, man? There's so many. What's a good one? Oh, man.
You can pick one from the East Coast and one from the West Coast if you want.
Whoa, there we go.
I'm trying to think of
no
anything I could tell. Well, I mean, there hasn't been that much crazy stuff. It's mostly been like drunken fist fights and stuff like that. Like we had crazy stuff happen on tours, like not anything too out of the ordinary, but I'm trying to think of anything that stands out. Like we had a big ordeal one time in Athens, Georgia. Like we were playing at the club that the band REM owns, or they used to own. It's called the 40 Watt Club. It's like a legendary club. And we were there on a day off. And we were on tour with the Reverend Horton Heat. And we ended up, how do I explain this? There ended up being two ordeals going on at the same time in the same town with two different sets of our crew. Half of our band was in a bar next to the 40 Watt Club and got in like a big bar brawl, like in a movie, like chairs flying type of brawl, and ended up getting kicked out of this bar by the locals and having the cops show up. And then one of our crew guys punched a cop in the face by accident, in the melee of breaking up a fight, swung at a police officer. So that thing ended up he ended up going to jail. My brother Frank and I ended up trying to like kind of walk around the corner and run away from the fight, and got pulled over by the cops and got like guns drawn on us and all this crazy stuff in one ordeal. And literally at the same time that was going on, a block away, a whole other half of our crew was getting kicked out of a venue that we were about to play with the Reverend Horton Heat like within a couple of days or something like that. So that was a thing where like two different incidents happened at the same time. It involved the cops, it involved people going to jail, and it was two different sets of people from our crew across town from each other. So that's just I don't know what was going on that day. I think it was just alcohol, but that's the kind of stuff that we would get into once in a while, man. It's like in our younger days, or just people letting loose a little bit too much, But that's the kind of stuff that would go down once in a while, mostly because of drinking, Some fist fight for no reason, or some fight with some local because somebody said something to you wrong, or you're from the wrong part of the country, or something like that. So nothing too exciting, unless you like dealing with cops,
I would say dealing with something like that would be a little bit exciting at the time, having guns drawn on you and running.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's happened a couple of times where you're just in the wrong place, wrong time on a day off, having a good time, and somebody says the wrong thing to somebody else, or somebody doesn't like the way you look, and it just turns it into something. Not so much anymore. Nowadays, we're just a little bit more mellow and kind of taking the sights a little bit more. We used to not stop and look at stuff. Now we stop and look at the sights and take things in a little bit more. When we were younger, we were kind of on a good one all the time. Like not enough sleep, too much partying, and trying to play shows every day. It's just not a good match, man. You end up you like burn yourself out, and you get into trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wild.
There was all kinds of wild stuff that I'm probably forgetting. But there was always some stuff here and there,
Right. You guys crazy? No, I never got that at all based on your shows.
Whoever thought the guys with the zombie head with popping eyes out of it would get up to some fun times on tour.
Right? Yeah, dude. Exactly. Yo, we did have some wild times, here and there. We're thankfully there was no cell phones back then and no social media back then. I'm grateful that Voodoo basically made it past that era of at least the young Voodoo Glow Skulls. Ended up past that era of we would have been canceled 1,000 times over, which we've already been canceled a few times, I guess, which is a good company to be in my opinion. But like, yeah,
Damn
I'm
it!
glad that we're kind of older and like past some of our sowing our oats thing, where we're just like first getting on the road and partying and first doing this and that. I'm glad we're kind of like, oh, been there, done that,
I bet you wouldn't have done anything differently though, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think so. But I don't know it seems like a crazy thing to navigate if you're younger nowadays, because there's a whole other thing now. All eyes are on you now.
Yeah.
Even as an older person doing it. But yeah. At least when you've been through some stuff and have experienced some things, you like to think you're a little wiser and smarter, at least in theory.
Yeah, we like to think so, right? I don't know.
Yeah, not always.
Yeah. When all else fails, just eat a good burger and
Yeah, exactly.
Takes care of everything. So yeah.
So you're coming in for Croydon Fest just on Sunday? Is it like a one-day fly-in?
Yeah, we're just coming in. I'm sure I think knowing us the night before, we'll typically come in the night before, something like that, and settle in somewhere within driving distance, of course, somewhere, and then most likely like in Philadelphia, like the airport or something, and then we'll find a spot, a hotel somewhere where we have somewhere to stay. We come in the night before, drive in the next day and play the show. Leave the next day most of the time. In this particular case, that's the case.
If you get in early enough, we are hosting an after party on Saturday night.
You are?
Is with FW shows. And the Write-Ups and the Dirty Notion out of Flint and Detroit are going to be
Oh
playing.
yeah, I know the write-ups. Where's that at?
It's actually at a little like bar restaurant. We're just like converting it to a venue. It's very DIY,
Sweet.
and it's like 5 miles from the festival.
Oh really? I mean,
It's actually in Croydon, which is really interesting because the festival started out in Croydon. And then the first 2 years were in Croydon, Pennsylvania. And then the third year after COVID, it moved to a new venue outside of Croydon, which is why the name was changed to This Is Not Croydon Festival.
oh, okay.
Now,
I
mind you,
was
I am
wondering
not
what.
affiliated with the festival. I'm just telling you the story as it's been told to me. Um, but the after party this year is in Croydon. So on the flyer, it says like bringing it back to Croydon.
Oh, see, that's the thing is I was wondering what Croydon even was. I was like, is it a town or city? So it is then. Okay, that
It
that
is.
makes all the sense
So
in the world now.
the original brewery in the Chamonix Creek Brewery, where it was hosted, was in Croydon. And
Okay,
this place is like 5 miles out of Croydon in Ben Salem.
right on. Is
Yeah.
that closer to Philadelphia, or is
They're
that
both like about the
like
same.
kind of
Like
equal? Okay,
literally, Ben Salem and Croydon are both like 5 miles outside of they border Philadelphia, but it's in Northeast Philly, which
yeah.
is
We end up with the same thing we usually do. Usually when we come into places like that for like a fly-in show, we'll just
right.
get we'll have a couple rental cars. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping we do the same. If we have rental cars at our disposal, usually a couple of us are down to do whatever's going on the night before, like there's some after party
I'll
or
send
party.
you the flyer with the information on it
Yeah,
too.
please do. And if we can make it, we usually would if we're able to.
Right. All right. Well, it's been great to have you. We can't wait to see you next week. It's going to be an awesome time.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. We're super stoked and yeah, I mean we're excited to be there. That's what we do. We're really just excited to play the show and hang out.
Also excited to see you guys.
Yeah, definitely let me know what's going on. We'll be there. We'll be up in the mix.
Sweet, man.
All right. That sounds awesome. And I hate to do this, but I said I was going to end every episode the same way, and I can't find the video.
Oh,
So,
really?
Eric, our team member who passed away, we have a video of him saying something really meaningful about the scene and being the scene. And I wanted to play it at the end of every episode, and I got distracted and I didn't find it. So I'm
Oh,
going
I'm
to try
sorry.
to give the message for him, and that is for everyone listening, you got to remember if you want to have a scene, you got to be the scene because if you don't show up to the shows and you don't buy the merch and you don't go out and have a good time, these bands are not going to come back and there's not going to be a scene. So just be the scene. I can't say it as good as him.
Well said.
But
That's a good way to put it. And
we're going to end on that note. And if you'll just hang out for 1 second.
yep.
Thanks for listening, everyone.